Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is Tuesday, February 25th. And we got a lot of, I wouldn't say fun stories for you today, but we do have some important stuff. Uh, we got MAGA supporters reacting to some of the DOGE supporting congressmen. We've got the GOP budget talking about massive cuts to Medicaid. Uh, I mean, disastrous. We've got the DOGE resignations, which is very interesting. We have a CEO that basically fucked around, and now he's finding out. So that's a fun story. And then, of course, we've got a Republican congressman trying to impeach a judge. For what? Um, well, you'll just have to stay and watch. Okay. So once again, we've got quite a few interesting stories. So we'll talk about those. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. And please consider becoming a patron or becoming a member. Super chats always welcome, things like that. Um, for those of you, of course, who are listening later on, who are already patrons, you're going to have, of course, access to the entire show in audio format, which is cool. You can play it like a podcast. And so, yeah, that's really interesting. Um, but for everyone else, please sign up, support the show. We need your help more than ever. All right. Especially in these days where the right wing has pretty much taken over all the different mass communication. We really need more support for progressive, independent media. So, all right. Anyway, let's do it. Let's start out with the backlash. Republican Representative Mark Alford got an earful from his constituents during his Mondays with Mark coffee thing at a coffee shop. And it was over his support of Elon Musk's mass firing of federal workers.
Musk has contracts with the federal government. But he is also, I think, doing an effective job.
Conflict of interest! Show me!
I know there are a lot of people who don't want to see waste, abuse, and fraud weeded out. Some of them here today.
I don't want him in charge of it.
But he is appointed by the
waste, fraud,
president,
abuse.
chief executive, who can appoint whoever he can appoint you.
I thought it was your job. It is your job.
Elon Musk and the president have agreed that if there is any potential conflict of interest,
It is your job.
today that some people don't believe that would happen. And that's okay.
It is your job.
In the next election, to elect someone that you believe.
We didn't elect Elon. Remember your oath.
Brutal. Okay. This is happening all across the country in even deep red districts. Okay. Obviously, the crowd not happy with him. But the biggest jeer line that he had gotten actually is when he had told fired government workers, quote, just because you have a government job doesn't mean it's a lifetime appointment like a Supreme Court. So I would encourage anyone who finds themselves in this situation to realize that we are going to get this economy turning again. There are jobs available. God has a plan and a purpose for your life. Oh, you see, God's gonna give you a job. Okay, He's gonna give you a job any day now. He'll just give you. It'll be like divine handouts. A hand from the sky will deliver you a job right to your door. So everything's gonna be fine. You see? Really. And while they're waiting for that divine job program, how are they going to pay the rent? How are they going to pay their mortgages? How are they going to buy groceries? Hmm? Yeah, no answers for that one. Okay. No, this is look, this guy can go F himself. All right. That's really it. So look, that did not go over well. Okay, one woman had yelled, "We don't want your God." Damn. Another exclaimed, "Our God is Christian." Maybe the assumption there is that Alfred's God is like Donald Trump, or more likely, money. That's really what they believe in. That's their God. Okay, their God is the almighty dollar. Okay, for the rich, and that's what it is. Okay, now Ariel Mulhagen was one of the federal employees that was fired. Okay, she used to work for the Natural Resources Confirmation Service. And she was fired because she was a probationary employee, which for government workers is like 1 to 2 years. And you don't have to have any sort of negative, remarks or anything on your job history. It just has to do with the timing, right? And so calling them probationary employees, it kind of gives some people, I think, the wrong idea. Like, oh, you're probationary. It means you must have done something wrong. No, you just hadn't been there long enough to get job protections. That's it. And so Elon Musk basically seized on ignorance of that issue and got rid of a bunch of government employees at agencies that he doesn't like because those agencies might actually regulate his businesses. Oh my God. Oh no, regulating his business. How dare you?
Oh no!
Anyway, here's what she said. Quote, "This is like breaking things that were not easy to build and will not be easy to repair." Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point, though. All right. To break things. That's what they want to do. To break things, to break government, to sell pieces off of that government to their rich friends, to the donors. And if you lose your job, if you lose your livelihood, your ability to feed your family, well, that's okay. That is a sacrifice they are willing to make. Now, here's the thing, though. This, as I mentioned, this has been happening all over the country in very deep red districts. Alford, during his reelection bid, crushed his Democratic opponent by about 45%. Okay, that's it, 45%. That is a complete and thorough drubbing of his opponent. Okay, so now anybody who casts their vote for him, just know, okay, that you voted for this. All right, that's it. You voted for this. This is you built that. Okay, whatever damage happens as a result of your vote, you do need to own it. Okay, they said they're gonna cut government, and that's exactly what they're doing. They have dreamed of this moment for decades. Now, look, in Missouri, where this happened, okay, is Kansas City, the federal government employs nearly 30,000 people in the Kansas City metro area. That's 2.5% of the total workforce. So if you thought that you would be exempt from these cuts, regardless of who you voted for, if you voted for Donald Trump, you thought you were going to be exempt. Well, turns out, nope. You effed around, you found out. Okay, just like this person. I am an Army veteran, disabled, and have 5 years of government service, but because I changed agencies and my service didn't count towards a new probationary period, I had to start over with a new probationary period because the HR rules are stupid. I lost my job. None of us should have to endure this, but especially those who should have protections we've earned. I voted for you 3 times, and I believe in what you want to do, but this isn't the way. I've been in the BS AI job market for months, and I can't afford to go back into it. I have a husband who is disabled and children. This is disgusting and irrational and wrong on so many levels. Grabbing the fresh fruit because it's low-hanging and leaving the rotten to hide in the trees, it's not doing what's right for the American people. The rotten fruit won't go away, and just because someone responds to an email lying about what they did last week isn't going to do crap either. They thought, hey, it's fine. Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they're going to get rid of DEI. We're going to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, it turns out, according to these Republicans, you are the waste. That's it. About 30% of the federal workforce are veterans. Okay. In August of 2023, 31.4% of employed veterans with a service connected disability worked in the federal, state, or local government. So they're government workers, compared to 20.0% veterans with no disability and 12.5% of non veterans. And did you know, which I'm sure you didn't, that the VA had something called Schedule A authority? Talk a lot about Schedule F, right? Which is what Trump's using, okay, to fire all these people. But Schedule A is hiring disabled veterans without any sort of competition. You know what that is? That's DEI. Okay, that's it. Hey, equity and inclusion for disabled veterans, allowing them to get these jobs without any competition at all for them. Yeah, that's DEI. And you're like, I gotta get rid of DEI. You know why? It's because you think it's for black people. But it turns out it's for you. It's for disabled veterans, women that are being affected by this. So yeah, a lot of the federal workforce that is being fired right now, they are veterans. And many of them are disabled veterans that are going to have a real tough time finding jobs in the private sector. Okay? But Mark Alford says, oh, no. Hey, you know what? God's got a plan for you. Maybe that part of that plan is to get rid of Mark Alford, because he seems to be doing a real damn good job. In fact, here is, before I get to that, okay, I just want to let you know, I want to hammer this one home. Voters, these people don't give a crap about you. They do not care at all. They don't care about you. In fact, here is Laura Ingraham basically telling you how much they hate you.
How do you resurrect your party, though? By protecting red tape and the bureaucracy, by trying to gin up sympathy for federal workers who need to get real jobs in the real world like most of America. Ever heard of it?
Oh, get a real job. You ever heard of it? You ever heard of a real job? Lady, you sit and read lies off a teleprompter all freaking day, all right, and get paid millions of dollars. Why don't you shut the hell up? Just shut your mouth. Shut it. America would be better if Laura Ingraham never spoke publicly again. 100%. But understand, overall, right, as much as I like to tell Laura Ingraham to shove it and to shut her goddamn mouth, okay? More importantly, it is to note that if you were a federal worker, regardless of who you voted for, if you voted for Trump, this is what they think about you. That you don't have a real job, that you're just a mooch, that you're a sponge, that you are a waste of money, that you are the waste, fraud, and abuse. That's what they think about you. And if you vote for that, well, then you must hate yourself. Yeah. No, this is not a pre-recorded show. This is currently live. So now, of course, there will be a replay later uploaded to Patreon. That will be in audio format, but currently, right now, we are live. All right. So let's move on. Let's get to Republicans targeting Medicaid. I know I hate putting anything Big and Johnson in the same graphic here, especially in regards to Maga Mike. But still, yeah. All right. I had to. All right. Check my graphics. Or okay. Late Monday, a bill to enact massive cuts in Medicaid and the SNAP program in order to fund trillions of dollars in tax cuts and giveaways to the rich was advanced by Republicans in the House Rules Committee. The Rules panel voted 9-4 along party lines in favor of the Republican budget blueprint, setting the stage for a House floor debate and a vote as soon as Tuesday evening. Monday's committee vote came after a Center on Budget and Policy Priorities analysis, finding that the SNAP cuts proposed by the House GOP resolution would result in widespread harm. It's about $230 billion worth of cuts, and that would potentially take benefits from more than 9 million low-income people in the average month. Deep SNAP cuts, they write, would worsen food insecurity, hurt local businesses, and weaken SNAP's ability to boost jobs in every state. SNAP is highly effective at reducing food insecurity and poverty, and research links SNAP participation to better health outcomes and lower healthcare costs. So that's the $230 billion. They wrote that regardless of how lawmakers impose $230 billion or more in cuts to SNAP, these cuts would make it harder for low-income families in every state to afford groceries. Remember when Republicans said that, oh, we want to lower grocery prices. We want to help people to afford food. Eggs are too expensive, which they are. But they appear not to be caring too much about that. All right. Worsening food insecurity and hardship, slashing low-income households' grocery budgets would also reduce revenue for thousands of businesses in every state, with ripple effects throughout the food supply chain. Medicaid cuts, they're even more drastic and will do even more harm, according to the Center for on Budget and Policy Priorities. They previously estimated that House Republicans' plan for Medicaid could put 36 million Americans at risk for losing health coverage. Not good. Not good at all. Now, of course, does that matter to these guys? No, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. I know right now they're putting up this kabuki theater as of like, oh, these moderate Republicans are like, oh, maybe we shouldn't cut that much from Medicaid. Oh, that could hurt some of our voters, and so maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we shouldn't do that. I'm not buying it. Okay, you have GOP members of the Rules panel that rejected Democratic amendments that were aimed at preventing cuts to the healthcare program, as well as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program and other spending. So, look, they're going to do it. Okay, buckle up. Things are going to get real bad. Okay, now, Representative Gabe Amo, a Democrat from Rhode Island, wrote that Republicans can't have it both ways. They can't claim to stand up for their constituents on SNAP and Medicaid and then reject amendments that would do just that. So, Amo had sponsored the proposed changes, these amendments, and said my common sense amendments would have supported these two key programs that feed hungry children and care for sick Americans. Democrats provided Republicans with several chances to stand with the many instead of the rich. They declined multiple times. I'll continue to pull out every stop as I seek to prevent these cuts from becoming reality. Put simply, the bill is a betrayal of the promise that every Republican made just months ago to lower costs. Well, that's because they were lying. I know, Republicans, they lie all the time. They don't care about lowering costs, okay? They don't care about the grocery prices. They don't care about the cost of health care. They don't care about any of that. What they're doing is everything they can to shovel as much taxpayer money as possible to the very rich, to the donors. Okay, the Economic Policy Institute, for example, recently found that if the House GOP's proposal for the $880 billion in Medicaid cuts over the next decade becomes a reality, it would reduce incomes for the bottom 40%, more than extending the Trump tax cuts would boost them, and the lowest income households would fare the worst. Strikingly, this is true even as the full $880 billion in Medicaid cuts would only pay for about 20% of the total cost of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Other cuts and economic damage falling on non-rich families stemming from the tax cuts for the rich would still be forthcoming, said EPI's Josh Bivens. Meanwhile, the TCJA boosts the economic incomes of the top 1% significantly, while these households do not rely in any way on Medicaid. Now, here's the thing about that, right? Medicaid is popular. Okay, it's one of the popular programs. A lot of people that use it, including Trump supporters. Okay, who, when asked, generally are like, "No, we shouldn't cut it. We should spend more money on Medicaid." Well, look at that. According to a January KFF tracking poll, half, about 51%, say the federal government spends not enough on Medicare, and 46% say the same about Medicaid. Okay. Across both programs, the share of public who say the government isn't spending enough is more than twice the share who say the government is spending too much. Only 15% of Republicans polled say we should reduce federal spending on Medicaid. That's only 15%. 26% say that we should not reduce spending on Medicaid. So it's pretty clear the American people are not in favor of these massive cuts in healthcare, in Medicaid. That said, you know they're going to spin it, and this is how.
Medicaid is hugely problematic because it has a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse. Everybody knows that. We all know it intuitively. No one in here would disagree. We had a hearing in budget just last week, or week before last, and they asked the experts, and the estimate is, I think it's $50 billion a year in fraud alone in Medicaid. Those are precious taxpayer dollars.
Oh, everybody knows it. I mean, it's full of fraud. Everybody knows. Everybody knows intuitively. So we don't need evidence. We don't need facts. Ugh.
Just forget about the evidence.
We don't need any of that. Just trust me, bro. Trust me. Lots of fraud. My proof is vibes. Okay? I feel like there's a lot of fraud here. Okay? Oh, is that it? Is that it? Now that said, wait. He said they found $50 billion worth of fraud, right? Well, let's look at that, huh? Do you know what that is from? Medicare Advantage plans. You know, the privatized plans offered by places like United Healthcare that was found to have been scamming people, elderly folks, with these Medicare Advantage plans, and denying 90% of their claims. So that's where that's from. According to the Wall Street Journal, Medicare Advantage made hundreds of thousands of questionable diagnoses that triggered extra taxpayer-funded payments, including for deadly illnesses where patients received no care and for conditions that people couldn't possibly have. These are private corporations, healthcare companies, okay? Health insurance companies, not healthcare, that are ripping off the taxpayer. That's in Medicare. That's different than Medicaid, by the way. And so there's the fraud. Okay, looks like we found the fraud. It's private corporations ripping off the government. And you know what? The same time they're talking about this, the same Republicans are cheering on the gutting of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They're getting rid of all the cops, right? The so-called cops, in the government that would hold these companies accountable for doing fraud. So they don't actually care about that. And again, his example was in Medicare, not in Medicaid. Okay? So Johnson is standing there lying to our faces. All right? That's it. Look at all this fraud in Medicaid. Do you have any examples, good sir? No, but they did find private corporations that are ripping off the taxpayer, which is why we should hand everything over to the private corporations. What? Wait, what? How does that make any sense? That doesn't. But that's what they want to do. They want to privatize our healthcare system. Okay? This is part of that. Now, the other part of this is the fact that a lot of these people believe in a form of social Darwinism, okay, which is just letting poor people die because they're poor in order to fund the rich, because they only believe that the rich, since they are rich, deserve to live. This is what we're dealing with in this country. This is who the Republicans are, and it's what they have always been. And now the rest of the country, we're finding out. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. I hope y'all are already fired up here. Privatization, because making money from social programs, that is what they want. Indeed. All right. Bring back the workhouses and the poorhouses. Good times. Yeah. Yeah. My piddly little 300-month widow SSI kicks me over the amount to allow me to get Medicaid. I'm being punished for being a widow. That's what we see, unfortunately, with a lot of the Republican cuts to these programs. They should all be universal. All right, moving on. Got the DOGE disaster. With the Trump-Musk government seeing waves of resignations, it appears that not even DOGE itself is immune to people resigning over the unpopular cuts to government. More than 20 workers at the non-department Department of Government Efficiency, I gotta make sure to point out that is not a real department, it is not part of the government, it is an advisory committee, have opted to resign than to dismantle critical public services. So this is according to a report from the Associated Press, where 21 workers had written in a joint resignation letter that, quote, "We swore to serve the American people and uphold our oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations. However, it has become clear that we can no longer honor those commitments." Now, these resignations come days after Elon Musk had demanded that federal employees justify their jobs to him. Like what? Like he's some sort of, like he's the president or something? Like, no. Why should you have to justify your jobs to some billionaire jackhole from South Africa? Ridiculous. Now, oh, but it's fine. It's just a pulse check, you see. All we were asking workers to do is to send an email detailing what we did last week, to justify our existence. But if you didn't respond to that email, he would consider that a resignation. Now, that said, after quite a few agencies, for example, the FBI under Kash Patel, right, and Tulsi Gabbard as well, in her department, they're like, why don't you just ignore that noise? All right, no, we're not gonna play fiddle to this guy. Okay, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Now, a few days after that, Musk was like, "Oh, we're gonna give you another chance." What are you talking about? Yes, employees who failed to reply were given another chance by the magnanimous Mr. Musk to save their jobs at Trump's discretion, but then warned that next time, if you ignore that email, it will result in termination. So let me just note that Elon Musk does not have the authority to fire anyone in the federal government. He is a special government employee. Okay, and he is time limited in how long he can actually stay in that position. Okay, so he can fire people at SpaceX, he can fire people at Tesla, that's his own businesses, right? He can fire people at DOGE, his own advisory committee, but he cannot fire federal workers. He does not have that authority. The government is not one of his businesses. He has no right to send these BS emails. No. But back to the workers, right? Now, these outgoing employees had worked for what was originally known as the United States Digital Service. Now, this was established under former President Barack Obama. All right. The U.S. Digital Services website describes the team as mission-driven professionals who are passionate about applying our work and lived experience to public service. We come from a range of cultural, geographical, and ethnic backgrounds, and we represent a myriad of intersecting identities. Just like the people we serve, we are curious about understanding the needs of people and are excited to use our short tours of service to make a positive impact. I don't know, man. Oh, it kind of sounds like DEI to me. I'm sure some right-winger out there who heard that. Okay, but so this had been around for a while, okay? But when Donald Trump got in, well, they started doing some culling, right? So first they got rid of like 40 people, and they started doing some pretty aggressive loyalty check questioning, right? Before these people were transferred over to the DOGE. So now the hiring process for DOGE from that department was it's pretty much just as shady as we had thought, okay? According to the staffers, people wearing White House visitors badges, some of whom would not even give their names, grilled the nonpartisan employees about their qualifications and their politics. Some had made statements that indicated that they had a limited technical understanding. Many were young and seemed guided by an ideology and fandom of Musk. I wonder if that includes Big Balls, who apparently is related to an executed Russian spy. Yeah. Not improving government technology. So, yeah. These people, I mean, the randos who are Musk fans grilling workers about, are you loyal to Donald Trump? Straight out of Project 2025. And we were told that wasn't going to happen, though. Oh, no, we were told, you have TDS. Yes. Donald Trump doesn't believe in Project 2025. Not at all. No, and the loyalty test, no, they would never do that. Oops. Now, they ended up keeping about 65 people after that, and 21 of them resigned. So, good. Look, I mentioned before, Musk can't fire anybody, neither can DOGE. They're an advisory committee. They have no real power. Anyone pretending otherwise is flat out deluding themselves and are giving people who have no power over the government power over the government. Okay. But Jeff, don't you care about the savings? Don't you care about what DOGE is trying to do? The mission? Don't you want to end waste, fraud, and abuse? Yeah, of course. But Elon Musk doesn't actually care about that. DOGE is not set up to do that. Okay. What Elon Musk is doing is targeting any agency that it could have, impacts on his business, on his bottom line. Okay, that's it. Oh, but you understand, he is coming for DEI, and he is canceling all these woke contracts. He is saving us billions of dollars. He's going to send us a $5,000 check. If you believe that Elon Musk is going to send you a $5,000 check, I got a bridge to sell you for $5,000. So just give it to me right now. And, wait for that check to come in. Look, here's the thing. 40% of the canceled contracts that were supposedly, canceled by DOGE, right, are actually expected to produce no savings whatsoever. No savings. Data published on DOGE's wall of receipts showed that more than a third of the contract cancellations, 417 in all, are actually expected to yield nothing in savings. Nothing. Nothing at all. Oops. Yes. That is because the total value of the contracts has already been fully obligated, which means the government has a legal requirement to spend the money for the goods or services purchased, and in many cases has already spent the money. That's it. DOGE says the overall contract cancellations are expected to save more than $7 billion so far, an amount that has been questioned as inflated by independent experts. Yeah, of course. Now, overall, they claim to have found $55 billion in savings. Oh my God! However, the math is not mathing. Okay, it's not adding up. They have not provided any evidence for approximately $38 billion in purported savings. About 75% of their numbers are unaccounted for. Yeah. Unaccounted for. Okay.
Whoopsie.
This is nothing more than a bunch of alternative math, okay, that Elon Musk is using in order to fire federal employees and gut agencies that could have a negative impact on his businesses. That's it. At the end of the day, Musk's claims about waste, fraud, and abuse are just wrong. They're just wrong. I mean, take the Social Security thing, right? Oh, millions of dead people are receiving Social Security checks. No, they're not. No, they're not. Okay. It's just not happening. Okay. Secondly, DOGE didn't save $8 billion on a contract with ICE. Okay. That was the database here. I was corrected to say about 8 million. 2.5 million of that have already been spent. So they saved about $5.5 million at most by canceling the contract. That's it. And finally, the big whopper. No, we did not send $50 million worth of condoms to Hamas. And notice how that has changed, right? First it was $50 million to Gaza, then $50 million to Hamas, then $100 million to Hamas. It's like, what? No. In reality, the International Medical Corps was actually providing medical and trauma services in Gaza, which had been bombed to hell by the Israeli forces, okay? This included, by the way, family planning, programming, and emergency contraception. So none of that was true. So at the end of the day, look, DOGE is nothing more than a bad joke, a scam, and really more of a smokescreen that Musk is using to dismantle the parts of government that he doesn't like and to set up a massive robbery of the Treasury. So there's that. Move on. Figures can lie and liars use figures. He's literally a billionaire spaceship villain. It really, yeah. Seriously. All right. Here we go. Andy Ogles and his more impeachment crap. A Republican congressman wants to impeach a federal judge for trying to stop the Trump administration's erasure of transgender people. So let me note that transgender people have always been here and they will always be here. Okay, so you can't get rid of them. In fact, do you know the number one leading cause of the creation of transgender people? Cisgender people. I'm just saying. Okay. Now, on Monday, Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee introduced an impeachment resolution against U.S. District Judge John Bates, who had ordered federal health agencies to temporarily restore online data sets that were scrubbed as part of the Trump administration's crackdown on so-called gender ideology. Gender ideology. They are so scared of this gender ideology stuff, which is not a real thing. Saying that trans people exist is not an ideology. It's stone cold fact. All right. Now, the article of impeachment says that Bates' conduct in the case was, quote, so utterly lacking in intellectual honesty and basic integrity that he is guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors. He did not agree with me. That is a high crime and misdemeanor. You have crimed against me, sir. You must be impeached. That's not the only time Andy Ogles has filed impeachment. He tried to impeach Kamala Harris. Okay. He's just trying to impeach people for just, I don't know, red meat. So that said, what did John Bates do? Well, earlier this month, he agreed with left-leaning physicians, otherwise known as people who agree in reality, okay, that federal health agencies likely violated federal law when they took down various data to align with President Donald Trump's executive order that recognized two sexes. Okay, that's it. Which, of course, has infuriated Ogles. He wrote, "At no point in American history has the judiciary considered the surgical or chemical castration of healthy children to be a compelling or even legitimate health concern. And it shouldn't start now. We must protect their children from predators like Judge Bates." Yeah, that guy needs to have his, and I'm talking about Ogles here. Someone needs to check his computer, his hard drive, okay? Here's the thing. No children are being chemically or surgically castrated, okay? Gender-affirming care is not that. For prepubescent children, it is basically changing your pronouns, your clothing style, your names, and letting your hair grow out. That's it. That's what it is, okay? Now, in some cases, when children get a little bit older, puberty blockers are given in order to allow the child time to be sure of their identity before undergoing transition, which is just hormones. Hormones, puberty blockers, both can be reversed. Okay, surgeries, he talks about the surgeries, right? They're generally not performed until they're legal adults. Okay, so 18. Look, the reason that I have to point that out is because the lies about gender affirming care have to end. They're so blatant and so wrong and so incredibly artful. Okay, they're harmful, they're hurtful. You're targeting this small community of people just trying to exist. That's it. And look, they're using children. People like Ogles are using children as a weapon and a shield in order to go after people who are transgender. People who are intersex, by the way, who are also hurt by this. There are only two sexes. Really, intersex people are like, actually, no, that's not the case. But here's the thing, right? People like Ogles are using lawfare to try to remove judges that make decisions that they don't like. That's real strange. And this is after, of course, whining about Joe Biden and the Democrats using lawfare. Oh, it's a lawfare. So here's the thing. Bates is a Bush Jr. appointee, and he might even actually agree with Ogles about trans people. We don't know for sure, okay? But the reason that he temporarily stopped this order is simply because the Trump administration did not go through the correct process. The health website data case revolves around a provision of the Paperwork Reduction Act that requires agencies to provide adequate notice before terminating significant information products. That's it. So the PRA. A similar lawsuit was filed on Monday over climate data sets scrubbed from government websites. So it's funny because they talk about censorship, right? Well, they're doing censorship. They're literally scrubbing information, data that does not align with them politically. They're doing the politically correct thing, right? Which for them is to get rid of information that counters them. And they claim that they're for free speech, that they're for science. They're clearly not. Clearly not. Okay. Now, Bates's order was temporary. He only required the Trump administration to restore the data until there's a more permanent ruling on whether they're allowed to do that, to follow the Paperwork Reduction Act, right? Now, the left-leaning group that sued, they want the judge's order to be extended, maybe permanently. The Trump administration, of course, wants that order to expire, while Ogles just wants to throw a fit. He wants to get this judge impeached because how dare you disagree with me? His resolution comes after another Republican congressman, Representative Eli Crane, introduced his own articles of impeachment against a New York-based federal judge who temporarily blocked Elon Musk's DOGE from gaining access to critical Treasury Department payment systems. Yeah. So, boy, they're really going to war with these judges for actually, doing their job, trying to prevent these, oligarchs, unelected oligarchs, from accessing our personal data and taking over the entire payment system of the Treasury, which they claim, oh, we're just auditing, right? You guys aren't auditors, okay? You guys have no idea what you're doing. I mean, you think you know what you're doing. You probably have your marching orders, right, to try and maybe install some back doors so that you could get the Treasury and drain it into Elon Musk's account, maybe into yours. Don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. Now, Musk, by the way, speaking of him, reposted Ogle's impeachment article announcement and wrote, quote, "Time to impeach judges who violate the law." You know what? Kind of feels like we're living through a billionaire's midlife crisis. I mean, Elon Musk got radicalized. He turned himself massively right wing. Okay, because his daughter came out as trans, and he has made that everyone else's problem. I'm not blaming Vivian, by the way. Vivian is awesome and based. Okay, and she should be protected at all costs. No, I blame this guy. Okay, I blame Elon Musk. I blame right wing media. I blame J.K. Rowling. I blame all the others, the stupid people pushing trans panic. Okay? Y'all were scared of less than 1% of the population just trying to live their lives. Okay? So you voted for fascism. Great job. Not. Okay. I've got one last story for y'all. Whoops. I'm just pressing buttons here. Okay.
Whoopsie.
There we go. I love it. The CEO of an Idaho-based construction company recently stepped down after imitating Elon Musk's Nazi salute. So that was Tom Hill, now former CEO of Engineered Structures Incorporated, doing a Nazi salute not once, but twice, with Donald Trump in the background during a private company event. Oops. By the way, cheers from his employees. Okay. That said, at least one of them, apparently, whoever filmed this and put this on social media, might not have been impressed. And after it made the rounds online, Hill was like, "Oh no, I may have made a big mistake."
Oh no!
Hill had acknowledged that his gesture resembled a Nazi salute. Oh, did it? It resembled it, everybody. But then claimed, "Oh, no, you know what? I was just doing a parody, guys. I was doing a parody. It was doing a skit on the craziness of the 2024 election. People doing Nazi salutes. Isn't that crazy? I'm such a crazy guy." What? No, you're an idiot. You're an idiot who apparently likes to do Nazi salutes. What did you think was going to happen? Dummy. Okay. No, stupid. I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
You idiot!
All right. So now, in his statement on Monday, Hill wrote this, quote, "It is with a heavy heart that I announce my voluntary resignation as CEO of ESI Construction and chairman of the board of directors, effective immediately. While my behavior was never intended to promote hatred or extremist views, sure, I recognize that it has rightfully generated intense backlash and has overshadowed the mission of our company. Please accept my sincere apologies for the hurt that I have caused. I mean, at least it's not one of those non-apology apologies where it's like, for anyone I may have harmed or offended. No, this is actually like, well, yes, I apologize for the hurt I have caused. Okay, interesting. Now, a news release from ESI also stated, quote, our focus now is on healing and moving forward. We are dedicated to ensuring that our mission remains clear and that every decision we make reflects the principles that define ESI construction. Company is also reportedly setting up a dedicated corporate responsibility task force. And its new leadership says that we are confident we will emerge a more compassionate company. You know, it sounds like you could have used, I don't know, a little bit of DEI. Okay, I'm just saying, a little bit of diversity, you know, in thought and opinion. Perhaps then you may have avoided this little whoopsie.
Whoopsie.
A little bit of maybe critical race theory, perhaps, might have helped you, avoid doing Nazi salutes. Maybe. I don't know. But here's the thing. All these people, because I've talked about this before. I've had several videos where I did examples of, hey, this CEO just resigned, you know, or this government worker just resigned for doing the Nazi salute. I absolutely love this for them. Keep on doing it. All you people that were cheering on Elon Musk, that were defending them or him after doing this, right? The Nazi salutes at CPAC, okay? I'm sorry, not at CPAC. You had Steve Bannon doing it at CPAC, but you had the inauguration is when Elon Musk did this. It's been a long month, okay? But hey, you're defending him. So I remember saying, hey, if you think that this is fine, then why don't you do it? If it's just a joke, then go and do it at work. All right, see what happens. See what happens. And you know what? These idiots actually did. They did it. They actually went and did it. Which is, and of course, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? The only people that did not get any real backlash that really matters, right, are people like Elon Musk. Elon Musk has only gotten richer since Trump took power, since he did his own, you know, Nazi salute. Okay, so he's gotten richer, and he's already still the richest man in the world. He can't get fired. He's the boss. So nothing bad is happening to him. I mean, outside, of course, the massive protests against him and Tesla and his sinking poll numbers, which is dragging down Donald Trump. And that's funny to see. But so far, you know, he hasn't been impacted as much as someone like this guy losing his job. Okay. Steve Bannon, another person, right? He's a white nationalist. You know, there are other people at CPAC that did it as well, and they're not really seeing any backlash because, again, there's really not a whole lot of ways to harm them. But average people, like, well, I wouldn't say average people, right? But like people who are not super wealthy or high up or whatever, they're doing this and they're, you know, reaping the consequences. But here's the thing about Elon Musk and why he did this. This is normalizing Nazi salutes, okay? Which is ironically getting their followers to do them in order to normalize it. And the funny thing is they have not had any success. Okay? Yes, their followers are doing it, and every time it happens, oops, you get fired. Which is great. Again, I love this for them because I really enjoy it when people F around and find out. So, all right. That's all I've got for y'all today. So thank you. Please like and share if you haven't already. Like and share the clip, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Hey, Super Chats, welcome. Sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Really do need your help more than ever. It's getting harder and harder to actually be able to survive off of YouTube. So YouTube earnings, and of course you've got the right wing that has pretty much all the money and is drowning out progressive media. So if you can help out by signing up and becoming a patron, you know, you're helping keep one more independent progressive media outlet alive and going, because I think y'all are going to need it throughout this, this really hard time. Okay, because these are dark times, everybody. Dark times indeed, and we're going to need each other to get through it. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching, listening, and for the patrons, for your support, for the members, for your support as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Couldn't do it without you. For everybody else, please consider signing up if you can. If you can't, just please like and share far and wide. Get out the progressive message. All right, everybody. Thank you all. Have try to have a good day, and we will see you later.